before I left Bali, I was like, I think Java is just going to be densely packed, just like nonstop cities, urbanization, sprawl. But by the time that we left Indonesia, the one regret I had about Java wasn't going to Java. The biggest regret was not spending enough time in Java.
In this video, we'll share 3 reasons why you might want to consider Java the next time you visit Indonesia.
So why do tourists skip Java? I think one of the reasons is just because there does seem to be a natural tourist pathway. It basically assumes that lots of people want to go to Bali, and then there's kind of a push eastward.
Tourist hotspots include Lombok, Flores, and sometimes as far as West Papua for Raja Ampat,
which we'll have a video on eventually. Another reason that a lot of people skip Java is just because of misperceptions. For some reason, I think in the back of people's minds, it sounds crowded, like you're not going to have room to breathe or relax. Java actually is an enormous island. In contrast to Bali, which is about the size of the US state of Delaware, Java is almost the size of the US state of Iowa. So even though there are a lot of people living on the island is plenty big to have a little bit of everything. There are the big cities, but there are also natural wonders.
We were limited in time, but I got enough of a taste in Eastern Java to know that this isn't just a concrete jungle.
So many people say it's majestic. It's one of the best waterfalls in Indonesia.
The falls can be viewed from a viewpoint, or you can do the hike. They're very clever in charging you once you've walked all the way down.
This place has this sense of being hidden. It's really like completely concealed off by this giant boulder over there. And then you just go around and it's like a huge bowl of just waterfalls.
But Tumpak Sewu, which roughly means 1,000 waterfalls, isn't all that's down here.
The first waterfall that we visited was beautiful and amazing, but I think it's as you're like walking along this river and you see just the huge scale of this place and never-ending waterfalls.
I mean, this area deserves to be called one of the most beautiful waterfalls in Indonesia.
Java is home to 45 active volcanoes, and about 15 of them are open to tourists. Oth and I visited Mount Ijen and Mount Bromo, 2 of the most famous ones. Mount Ijen is famous for its unique blue fire and is only one of 2 places you can see this occur naturally. And Mount Bromo is Indonesia's most photographed natural landmark. These are covered more in our last video, if you'd like to learn more.
Another practical but relevant reason you don't want to skip Java when you're in Indonesia is because the island actually makes travel very, very easy. There are 2 major ways to get to Java. One is to fly in through Jakarta, which is often a lot cheaper than going to Bali. It might make sense to start in Jakarta. You might save a couple of $100s, and then you can make your way across Java to Bali. And they make that very easy as well because all of Java's major cities are connected by a very nice train system. I mean, we made it all the way to Jakarta by train, and it was very comfortable.
It's very comfortable and easy to use, and it's beautiful. You see the mountain, the volcano in the background, and you see some rice field, which looks so green and lush. I know, it's one of the most beautiful train rides I've been on.
From Bali, you can also get to Java by ferry. It's a common transit route. The ferry leaves from Gilimanuk, Bali's port, and goes to Chetapang port in Java. The trip takes around 45 minutes.
The ticket booth is not exactly where you'd expect it to be. It's actually right across the street from the bus terminal in a little stall, so you buy your tickets there. The ferry terminal itself, it stands out a lot more, and they do have a sign that says ticket counter, but basically you take what you get from the little ticket stall
to the ticket counter and they transfer that into your actual boarding passes. So that's how that works.
This leads me to my third point about why you should consider Java. And that is that Java is Java. There is no grand strategy to make Java appealing to international tourists. Plenty of domestic tourists go there, but not so many on the international side.
It's kind of a hub for a lot of things, for politics, for commerce, for culture in a way.
You know, we only got to really explore a couple of cities in Java. And in my opinion, we weren't really able to do them in much depth, but even the little that we were able to explore gave us a lot more insight into how dynamic the Indonesian culture is, and also just how many layers of history there are.
Wandering around major cities like the ones we visited, you can see how central Islam is in many Indonesians' everyday lives today. So you can probably make out a little bit the call to prayer in the background of me talking right now, and that is the local Rainbow Village's mosque. But just north of Yogyakarta, Java is also home to a couple of very important Hindu and Buddhist temples from centuries ago. Borobudur, built around 750 AD, is often called the world's largest Buddhist temple. About a century later, the Hindu temple Prambanan was constructed nearby.
What we know that remains still standing is the three temples dedicated to the three main gods of Hinduism.
Both Hinduism and Buddhism shaped Java for centuries, until Islam became dominant from the 13th century onward. Throughout these shifts, indigenous Javanese beliefs have remained influential. Kejawen, a local spiritual tradition, still blends with Islamic practice for many Javanese today. Yogyakarta is the heart of Javanese culture. Yeah, this region of Yogyakarta is the only place in Indonesia that still has its own monarchy.
Essentially the Sultan,
Yeah. The Sultan serves as a living link between Islam and traditional Javanese spirituality.
Like with many other foreign tourists, Java just wasn't a priority for us when we first landed in Indonesia. So we just kind of squeezed it in at the very end. And honestly, I think that was a mistake.
When you think of Indonesia, it's like almost synonymous with Bali. Like, oh, I need to go to Bali if I'm going to like vacation in Indonesia. But there are actually tons and tons of places around Indonesia that are super cool and definitely worth visiting and maybe less crowded. And so just crossing through Java, I've come to appreciate how much more there is to Indonesia. And if you've enjoyed this video, check out one of our other videos on Indonesia. We've been exploring 4 other islands, including Yogyakarta's food scene.